The question came up, you know, what do you go out with every single time that you load out into a game? Now, I'm going to kind of show you like optimally what I like to have as a foundation. You might not do it right away if you're doing some sort of budget build, you know, just focus on making good efficiency out of your purchases and whatnot. But here's what I like to do anyways. I like to have at least 2 grenades. At least 2 grenades. You could go more if you feel like that's not enough. I like to go 4 gas grenades. Now, the reason why, gas kind of acts as 2 things. It can act as, obviously, a gas grenade. It can flush people out of rooms, things like that. It can also act kind of like a smoke grenade as well. Maybe you could do a 3-in-1, 3 gas, 1 smoke, because smoke is a little bit more dense. You can still see through the gas, but it does act as a little bit of a barrier. So that's what I like, 4 gas grenades. I like to go my main clip in my gun, whatever that may be. Typically, it's some sort of drum mag, and then I'll have 1 spare magazine in my chest rig, like I do right here. I'll always keep 2 stacks of ammo, but I'll put that in the case. And that just kind of protects the ammo. Ammo is incredibly expensive. When you start running really expensive ammo, this can save you a lot of money if you have a bad round. And you have it right there, and boom, that goes into your new clips. Okay, so that's what I like. Order of operation is important when it comes to the grenade wheel and the medical wheel. So medical wheel by default, I believe, is V for Victor. So when you hold that, it's going to show you, I believe, 8 items. It starts kind of from the top left of your rig and kind of works its way down. So normally what it'll do, I believe this is how it works, don't quote me, but I believe it goes top row, top slot, and bottom slot, and then it goes down again, 1 and then 1. I'd have to double check that, don't quote me, but I believe that's how it works. So typically what I do is I will have the mag there, and that way when I swap, it'll go to that slot. Now they've changed something from beta to live. Before, you needed a 1x2, so like let's say if you're swapping the mag out, you would need that slot available. Let's say this is what your chest rig looked like, and let's say everything else was filled, because this is important. I'll explain it here in a second why. If I go to reload, the mag will hot swap 1 for 1. So what I mean by that is if I was completely filled up everywhere else, imagine I was completely filled, it would just replace it in the same spot that it pulled the mag from. Before, it used to drop it. So any Tarkov players pretty familiar with that. Would drop it onto the ground, so you had to be mindful and take a look at that. Now, like let's say if this was filled like this and I go to swap my mag, it would actually put it in my backpack somewhere, if wherever I had availability. Even my composite case, if I had a 1x2, it would put it there. But that's just the general rule of thumb there. I like to put some sort of 1x2, so this is a 1x2 right here, med in my chest rig for quick access, and you could put whatever you want in there. Right now I'm running a battlefield med kit. What's nice about these is that cost wound treatment durability 100. So what does that mean? Let's say that this was a full 400, and let's say I got shot and I had a wound. It'll take 100 right off the cusp to quickly suture that up, and then also heal you at the same time. So it's kind of a 2-in-1, saves a little bit of time. Pretty valuable in that sense, but you do lose 100 charges. So if I have time to go through it, I will then use my bandage instead, which is over here. Now, normally in the beginning of a raid, unless it's say armory that's really tight, I might not use my endurance, but I'm going to probably pop a liquid painkiller pretty close to off the bat, but I'm also going to use endurance. So when I'm using my wheel, which is the tilde, the medical wheel, I'm going to see an endurance and a liquid pain. And so it's going to probably use these 2 right off the get-go, and that's going to clear up that slot right away. Now, I keep this 1x1 med in here as well, because if I end up using all the charge here, maybe there's only 10 left, 10 out of 400, I'll drop that, and then my next quick med will be then this melee kit, right? And you can shift this around however you want. Order of operation is very important when it comes to this. The reason why I stagger this the way that I have in the bottom, like the energy drinks and the liquid pain, is when I'm looking at the wheel, I want a variety of things. And the problem sometimes is if I front load everything else, because the energy drink is classified as the med wheel, because when you're running and your stamina is low, you can drink an energy drink and it pops the stamina back up. But if I have too many things, let's say I have 8 things in front of these drinks, it will not pull the drink into that wheel. So if I'm in a rush and I need to go ahead and drink to get my stamina back up, it's not going to be in that wheel. I'm going to have to open up my inventory. I'm going to have to stop. I'm going to have to right click. I'm going to have to use, you know what I mean? And it's just that big thing. So staggering these items like so gives you the variety in the wheel as you're kind of going through. That's the general rule of thumb. I like 4 energy drinks going into a raid. I probably bring about 3-4 liquid painkillers. You could go with a bottle if you wanted to. There's X painkillers 8 out of 8. That's another way to save some space if you want to use it for something else. But I normally have 4 gas grenades. I'll keep 2 readily available. Once I use those 2, I'll shift these 2 up. I always bring a bottle of water. Bottle of water. You could even bring a biscuit too. I think it's like in the beta it was like 180 bucks. I don't know what it is right now. We could go take a look at it, but they're very, very cheap. Getting a water and getting a biscuit or food or something like that is important. Water more so though, because let's say you start a game, get just absolutely shredded, you're doing a ton of medding, it's going to dehydrate you. So the water will bring your hydration back up and even it out. Your food doesn't deplete, or your energy doesn't deplete as fast. And the other saving grace is these energy drinks also give you hydration and they give you energy. So worst case scenario, you're low on food, you can just run one of these energy drinks and just int it, so to speak. So that's kind of what I do. In my composite case, when I start off, I'll normally have a surgery kit in there, and I run a second endurance booster. So I run one small, one large, and I keep the large one in my case in case I don't need it. Talking about stims in general, so the endurance stim, the strength stim, the regen stim, they're very, very good. Now, depending on the scenario, you may need, you may need the strength stim, you may not need the strength stim. They're very valuable though, because they do offset your weight. So if you're going in there, you're thinking you're gonna, maybe you're running a heavy kit, and so as you start to pick things up, you hit that heavy threshold really fast. The strength stims will kind of negate that, and they can bring you back into a faster sprint speed and stuff like that. Another thing that I'll say, regen stims are absolutely slept on, okay? Absolutely slept on. So normally anytime that you go into a fight, you want to have a painkiller of some sort rolling. Why? You want a painkiller rolling because let's say you're running in there and someone shoots out your leg. You do not have a painkiller, you'll start to hobble and you won't be able to move. And that can basically kill you. Whereas if a painkiller is going, you can still run. You'll take damage as you're running because you're technically hurt and you're just kind of pushing through. You'll start taking damage everywhere else. But again, you're not going to be a sitting duck out in the middle of a field, so to speak. So that's very, very important. Now, the regen stims are, I think, absolutely slept on. If I know that I'm going into a really sweaty fight, I'm going to probably pop a liquid painkiller of some sort. I'm going to pop a regen stim as well. Now, the regen will pulse heal everything on your body. So like, let's say you run in there again, you get blown out on your leg and you have to surgery kit. Well, surgery kit takes a little bit, but if that regen stim is going over and over and over, you're going to be able to heal and surgery kit at the same time. Now, obviously there's many different types of surgery kits that you can get. There's right here, there's the TMK, the STO, and all of these give you different things back. So like, let's say when I use this standard military surgery kit, my max HP is reduced by 40%. So what does that mean? That means that if my leg is blown, 40% of the life is inted off that leg when you use a surgery kit. Whereas some of these other ones give you less reduction. So max HP reduced by 20%. And then same thing with the STO. This actually doesn't give you any HP reduction. So in terms of, meds, you want to make sure that you have everything, like one for every ailment. Again, if you blacken out a leg, you need to make sure that you got a surgery kit. If you need HP, you need some sort of med kit, whether it be a first aid kit, military kit, whatever your option is. And then you want to make sure that you have something for wounds. So if someone gives you a wound, you need to get that up. Otherwise, you're taking tick damage all the time, right? So that's my general rule of thumb. I run, again, just to summarize, 2 grenades, 4 gas grenades, 1 clip in the chest. In addition, the extra ammo in my composite case or whatever the case you have. Maybe you don't have a case, and then in which case it would just go into your backpack. Surgery kit, you're going to have stims, whatever stims that you would like. For me, it's 1 and 1, 1 low, 1 high. The endurance boosters are amazing. Be sure that when you're popping an endurance boost and you're running and you run out of stam, you can chain a drink into it and it pops it up so you can travel distance really fast. Something for bandage and something for the energy drink. You can either take energy drinks, energy bars, whatever it may be, and a bottle of water, and then anything spare is going in there. So that's what I recommend. The question came up quite a bit on stream as to what my idea is when I'm loading out a kit, so that's kind of what I'm looking at. I use the quick heal key if it's what I want. Otherwise, I'll use the med key. So an example will be this. Perfect example, you were asking about the battlefield med kits. Cost of wound treatment is 100. If I have time, I'm not going to press because it's going to come up with this, right, for the heal. Also, another thing, it always comes up that it wants you to heal before you surge kit, and I want to surge kit before I heal if I have time. So If I blow up my arm and it's like heal, heal, I'm not going to heal. I'm going to open up my inventory. I'm going to use my surge kit, do the surge kit first, then I'll use the, you know what I mean? Also, another thing that I do a lot of the times too is, let's say I take damage and I have time to heal. I'm not going to press my quick heal if it's recommending this. I will then right click the melee kit at 120 and do that, because if push comes to shove and I need a big fucking heal, I'm going to go ahead and use the battlefield med kit. So I'll try to preserve it as much as I can.